Know that he was at Southgate? How do you know that he went to Southgate? He goes, because what the witnesses said and the CCTV backs it up, because they saw my son standing next to the car but not getting in it, and he was standing with one of the people that was at the Fox pub and another person, so which I know who they are. One they're saying was the driver that was with him, yeah, the passenger that was with him. And the other one was the friend that the passenger mentioned. But we weren't told the name of the other person, but we was told that my son, they know for a fact he was there because the witness statements, as well as the CCTV, that they were standing there and they were chatting, but they didn't see Ambrose get into the car or the other or anybody else. I found it hard that my son has left the Fox pub after all what happened to him, and then to end up at Daddy-O's an hour later, happy in that. And they said it was because of the phone cell sighting is what places there at my son there, as well as the witnesses and the CCTV that backs it up. Of my son at Southgate talking to these other males, I haven't seen the well, the witnesses, I've seen nothing that proves that my son stopped at Southgate, only by what Mr. Victor Olisa told us. The only reason I can say that the reason that he was placed at Southgate is because the cell sighting, the phone cell sighting placed, all right, the phone at Southgate, but there's witnesses that said that he was there, which are the same two witnesses that have made statements. But nothing, I haven't seen no footage, no CCTV footage. Victor Olisa said that he's seen CCTV footage of my son standing next to a car, but he hasn't seen no footage of him getting into it. And he done the same at Daddy-O's. He's seen my son standing next to his car, which we haven't seen, but not getting in it or driving off. Even those witnesses that see my son in Daddy-O's that say that they had a chat outside, they saw my son, but they never see him get in any car. And not one of them said they've seen him get into the car or drive off. Only what the passenger is saying that is confirming that my son apparently was there. And that's CCTV footage, where my son was very happy. He was in no bad spirits. He showed all signs of what an happy person would show. He was just chatting, hugging. There was no arguments. There was no signs. But what is really getting to me is they showed us, it was like two stakeout people. If you put yourself in this situation, we were staking out from across the road, and we were watching the shop that they claim my son went to after Southgate. Not once did we see my son's car drive past, either way, or pull up outside Daddy-O's, or seen him outside. We've only seen him inside, where he was happy, but we haven't seen him outside. You've got to see that car drive past. We see buses past, ambulance past. We see dog and his owner walking past. We never once see my son either way past. But they're saying he then came out of the side road, and that's why the witnesses didn't see him get into the car. But I don't understand that. I can't even go there. If he's on that main road, he must have come one way or the other. We had to see him pull up, and we haven't seen that. They did point out lights somewhere down, but where did he come from then? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. We did not see Ambrose walking that pub in Daddy-O's, but we saw him inside, and he was happy. There was nothing wrong with Ambrose. But can I just say this as well? We went to Daddy-O's, and this is what really hurts me, to try and see if we could get that CCTV. And they said, when we described the footage of my son, apparently, but even that doesn't add up, because I believe that footage was from before he went to the pub, not after, when he came away from it. So I believe it wasn't, they said it to us, it was they were refurbishment, and that their cameras weren't, that camera that would have got that shot of Ambrose facing the camera, that camera was not working. So there's no way that that shot could have been. But is it 28 days? It overrides. So it could have been possible. From Daddy-O's to where the car from Daddy-O's to when the car was called in, because to me that's what they've got, facts from when the IKEA man called the car in. I don't know all the times but I know it's like there was about 9 minutes from the Daddy-O's to the car being called in, not crashing or stopping off at Red Brick or anything. But what I saw on what they showed us on CCTV was the only time we saw it was this car going round Montague Road, and a lorry went round Montague Road and over that bridge onto that Watermead.
Conduit Lane, and then Angel Edmund, and then Watermead. But it's Angel Edmund and Watermead, same road really.
They showed us this car, a lorry, and then you just see this car just speed past the camera and go, and then this same car, it looked like, that went past Tesco's. There was a little car that drove, and then like a few minutes later this car just went shoo, straight across. You could tell obviously it was speeding compared to the speed of the other car. In fact, that car that sped across would have met up with the other car and passed that car easily. So but this is what they showed us on and that was it of the car. We haven't seen nothing more of the car but cell sightings and phone records. They're saying that it's pinned him on that route. This is what they're saying to me. And his first crash was there at Leaside Road, where the wheel came off. Come off the car. That's the first crash, they're saying. And he's carried on another 500 yards. He's crashed again, but I don't know where that second crash is, because they said he's crashed. No, that after the crash at the this is what I was trying to get you to follow that road. They're saying the first crash happened at Leaside Road, and then it travelled from there 500 yards down to where it came to a stop, and my son got out and decamped down that alleyway where the jacket is. But we've already been told there's 2 crashes. That's why I kept on saying, where is this second crash? If that was the first one at Leaside Road, where was the second?
Because they've distorted your thinking because of them saying that the first crash was at Leaside.
But they've said that to everybody, not just me.
But it's not. The first crash comes before the second crash at Leaside.
No, but they put out to the world and me that where the first crash is, then the car crashed twice, but up to now I don't know where the car crashed for the first time, because according to what I've seen, where the railings are and where it went a further 500 yards to where the alleyway is, it came to a stop. It finally came to a stop because of the wheel that come off at Leaside Road. It finally carried on further down, and they even say it's quite surprising that it went so far on 3 wheels. And then they finally come to a halt by the alleyway, and that is where Mr. Ball's decamped, and he's run down the alleyway where the jacket was found. They also told us in that first, those first 3 viewings, but they showed us one of the friends had taken his jacket, and they showed us a footage of the person putting his jacket in the boot of the car. We could see the back of the guy who they're saying his jacket is. We saw him putting it in the back of the car. So she was, Sharon Woods was just telling us, we're showing you this so we can let you know that he put his coat in the back of the boot of the car. But that never happened. Obviously, he left his coat, that's what they said, in the car, on the front seat or on the back seat. And that's how Ambrose got hold of it. But in the recording in the mortuary, the first time we went to the mortuary, you'll hear my twin sister actually say to Hill, well, why did Sharon show us a person putting the coat in the boot of the car? Because that don't make sense. Why would Ambrose stop at the scene, have time to go round and take his boot out of the car, the coat out of the car and put it on, and not take his mobile phone? That doesn't make sense. And he did not deny that didn't happen. He said, I know. He agreed that is what they showed us. But we know that never happened.
Accident at 30, top of my head, 306.
I was at my sister's and I've received a call from the monitoring group, and they've said they found I've heard from Stuart Hill, and he said they found a body, and he's almost sure that it is Ambrose, but he can't say 100% until formal identification. Go through the autopsy to be able to confirm. And then, like, my sister kept saying, well, how do you know it's him? You know, how can they say it's him? Was he wearing the jacket? And they kept saying, well, we know it's, this not Suresh was saying from the monitoring group, well, he'll believes it to be Ambrose is because of the distinctive belt. I remember them saying distinctive belt and his shoes, and I believe it was the jacket. In the morgue, when we went to actually see the body, but the way it was described to us was it's not a whole body. It's just been lifted from the water and put straight into on a mesh from the water and lifted straight onto a white bag thing and zipped up and then taken straight to the morgue. I think it was the morgue, yeah. This is the bit I don't understand. We kept on saying to Stuart Hill how park attendants didn't even know what it was. They didn't know. They thought it was like an animal or something like that. And then when I said, well, you know, can we oh no, it was a DNA. Can you get DNA or fingerprints from the body? He said, no, well, there's not a whole body. You know, fingerprints will not be a form of identifying the body. And when we actually did see the body after it was cleaned up, the arm that they showed us was perfect. There was an hand at the end of it, and fingerprints could have been taken. So I don't understand why that he said the fingerprints, it couldn't be done by fingerprints, which I think they should have done at the scene anyway, before even calling me. What was the other thing at the morgue? Anyway, I decided not to go and see the body as it was until it was cleaned up and at the post-mortem, and they said, but that won't happen until the next day. So we had to wait basically the weekend to go back on the Monday, and that's when we actually walked in and we, actually I think on this Saturday, McCarthy said he had the watch. I've got the watch if you want to see that. But he sent all the clothes and everything back. And that was the day that we couldn't see, we didn't want to see the body. But but on the day that we did go and see him, we saw, they said, right, the body's prepared, you know, we're going. And there was a glass, as we've gone in the room, there was a glass, and you just saw this body laying full out on a trolley and a white sheet literally covered from top to bottom, and there was the left arm was just hanging out, and the closer I got, I'm looking at it, and all I could see was a full tattooed arm, like it's called a full sleeve, which my son had. And I noticed I don't even remember if I noticed the birth date that was written, but it was the same sort of sequence as my son had his daughter's birth date. So I go, yeah, that's my son. I don't even know if I saw Katie. I think it was just the writing I saw. And I just, you know, I said, yeah, that's my son. And then as I'm going in, I said, I want to see the scar on the knee. I want to see the scar. So he's gone, yeah, you can go in, but don't touch anything. But as I went round to the other side, they had half of the sheet just lifted over their leg so that you could see the knee, but it had the right side, just like the right side, just lifted over, just so that you could see that side of the knee. Nothing else. That's not even that. We couldn't even see the right arm. So it was covered. The sheet was covered. But when I'm looking at the knee, I didn't even. It's only now, even now, I could still see the shape of the scar. It was in the shape of an L, and I never took much notice of it. But I'm figuring out maybe it could have been the water that shrunk it, or something's changed. And that's when I've looked further up and I see that the tattoo my son had wasn't there, and that took me off the mind of the scar. And then I thought, hang on, the tattoo ain't there. And even just by his pecs here, where they've pulled the sheet over, I know my son had tattoos on his pecs and on his back, but this body, it was complete, and there was the skin on the side. There's nothing there. It's just like looking at I can't explain it. It's just like looking at a body that has just been laid there, and it's just laying there, and they've got it covered with a sheet, and there's nothing showing that body was even, forget the accidents, forget the fights, that there was no sign of that body even being near water, or I would have expected the skin, compared to what they told us that this body looked like, to have a body laying there complete was the biggest shock of my life. I did want to pull the sheet off, to tell you the truth, after I see that there wasn't half a body, or I wanted to pull it off because the arm looked perfect, but that didn't happen. And by the time I even come out of there, I started questioning, but he's really white. And I'm going, but Gina, something's not right. Not just that it wasn't white, why was it a full body? And the trainers were still on. This is a body that should have been in the water how long? Nothing added up. And then the deeper I went into it, I didn't see the face, the tattoo's gone, and I started doubting that was Ambrose well before I even got home from that, before we even got back home from that visit, from the viewing. But obviously, the only bit that was left in, I don't even want to go into the BBC documentary, because I think everybody's seen that already. And to even cover up the person's, Stuart Hill's voice is a joke, and leave everything else out, all the questionings, everything that we had said in that room. From there, we all know what happened after that. Then the second post-mortem. As time went on, Stuart Hill said he needs to, because everything was inconclusive with the, it didn't show drowning, so he said, right, I think more tests have to be carried out, so we've got to send things off to the National History Museum, and it's something he's never done before. It's the first time he's done all this, and once all them tests come back, then when he died, or the answers that should come back is where, when, how, but the tests that were carried out, we couldn't have the positive test of the liver, because enough of the organ wasn't passed over to be tested to get a positive test, so that one wasn't even done, that test. But I don't know what the liver was for. It was.
You can see if what diatom is in the liver.
Right, the second organ.
And that will prove that he drowned in the river.
Right. So they've left that.
If the one in the lung will prove drowning, and it should have clarified where he drowned. But
what part of the river?
The second one in another part of the
then
organ, it will show that he went in alive.
Right.
Yeah.
So the test that we really needed couldn't be carried out. And I'm sure that they know that so much has to be passed over before a positive test can be carried out. The organs that went to the National History Museum, one of them was to see whether my son had drowned before he went in the water, or died by the second, if diatoms had got into the second organ. But the organ that had to be passed over had to weigh, I can only say it this way, my son's liver weighed about 600 plus something, and 100 grams of that had to be passed over to be able to get a positive result in any test. But what happened was they only handed over 48% of that 100%, which made it impossible to carry out this test. So that test that we needed to know never took place. The everything else that came back, the alcohol, they dismissed that because when you die, your body, something turns into alcohol and all that.
There wasn't enough alcohol or drugs in his body to kill him.
Right. The tissues that was sent off as well to the National History Museum, the report came back saying that they couldn't confirm that the tissues even belonged to Ambrose, which that makes sense because there's no positive identification that that's Ambrose. So it makes sense that he can't say that. They might be Ambrose's tissues, but he can't say that that belongs to that body because we don't know if that body's Ambrose yet.
Because there's been no DNA.
Yeah, because there's been no DNA. So that, and why even the DNA couldn't the Natural History Museum even deal with the DNA part? Take his DNA and then take my DNA, but none of that's been done. Fingerprints haven't been done. Even dental records, maybe because I can't find his dentist, I don't know. But still, if you can't find that answer, then if the face, they're saying the reason they covered him is because his face was, it was basically, the way they described it, it was gone. And what we have found out since concerning the face is, if the face is gone and the rest of the body is there, then it's more than likely that the body died on dry land because there was a test carried out with a pig. Yeah. And if the body is first attacked and the face is the last to go, then the body was in water, and it was, well, from what I'm seeing, was the only thing that was missing was the face, and that's because they told us that. That's why the face was covered, but what they're saying, if that's the case, that the face is the only thing that's gone, then that means my son died on dry land, and he was put in the water at the last minute. So there's a lot of things that, that have made me think and feel and believe the way I do concerning my son's body. I'd love to think but I would love to say that that's my son, so I can get, sort this out and put him to rest. But how can I, with all these different inconsistencies? Yeah, just everything concerning this body. None of it adds up, and none of the questions have been answered. Like, where is the tattoo? How come you didn't take the fingerprints? These are things that have to be answered. And on top of that, I still haven't got nothing to say positively that is the body of Ambrose Ball, and I haven't got anything to say that, only by what they're telling me.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.